Oh, I got a pretty good question to my viewers, and I'd like to know what you would do. Now, of course, I've did many videos on trolls and how they become out of control. You, as a viewer, vlog, what would you do if you found out somebody behind a channel has been really, desecrating, humiliating, and really defaming someone that you love, like your wife or girlfriend? And it's not just one incident. Nope. It's many where they devote channels about you, but they like to emphasize somebody that's very innocent, like the guy's wife or girlfriend, who is not a YouTuber, does not have their own channel. And what would you do? You say fuck the law if you found out who they are and beat the shit out of them with a baseball? What would you do? Seriously. Now, as many people know, I have a girlfriend who, unfortunately, has been a victim, an unnecessary victim of a few channels on here, well, particularly one, that not only uses her photograph on thumbnails, depicting her as being some kind of a prostitute. Okay, you've seen it all. I'd like to know what you would do to somebody like that, in or outside the law, if you're a woman on a regular basis. We're not talking about a one-time they decide to say something about your girlfriend or wife. Okay, that might have been derogative or really unnecessarily and really defaming, slandering, so forth, calling her a prostitute, a cold girl. I want to hear your opinion about this. Now, as many of you know, excuse me, because I'm still suffering from my little trip here. I'd like to know, in all honesty, what would you do? Okay, there is honor in a relationship, okay? And you should honor your wife or girlfriend. It's one thing if somebody, for whatever reason, has a beef with you. Should they drag? Let's talk about a regular basis here. We're not talking about one time, two times. They decide to be a little wise guy and do a little video depicting your wife or girlfriend as something she's not. Well, that's been certainly done to me, no doubt about that. And somebody's paying the price for that. But if it was your girlfriend or wife, what would you do? Now, unfortunately, we have a situation that's been going on for a long time. First of all, we got to examine what kind of a person would actually do that. We're not talking about having a moment of anger and saying something that maybe you shouldn't have said. And I've done a few things like that. But I don't devote my channel to anything like that at all. You guys know that. I have my moments like anybody else does, right? But, okay, so you got a channel that's devoting its content on you. Okay, well, that's been going on for a while. It becomes commonplace after a while. I just examine the source and say, well, there's something lacking in their life. If I'm such a big topic on here, they have to devote a channel on me. But why would this person have to include my girlfriend? Well, it could be your wife or your girlfriend. Why would they do that? And for what purpose? To hurt me? Why hurt an innocent person? Now, I know one thing. I'm a pretty good investigator. It might take a while. It might take a couple of sawbucks to figure things out, but that's one thing I don't usually talk about on here. Usually, I don't talk about that. I just let it be, okay? And I try to consider the source, but why must somebody include your girlfriend who's totally innocent? Oh, because maybe she defends me now and then? Well, that's what a girlfriend does, and vice versa. There is no excuse as far as I'm concerned to include somebody's girlfriend or wife in your practically daily, underline the word daily, videos you put out and using a thumbnail depicting somebody's innocent girlfriend who's not a YouTuber at all, doesn't have her own channel, has never harmed anybody on here. Now, if you've been following my videos for a long time, you know she's a really sweet woman. She's a really sweet woman. But like any guy who wants to defend the honor of his wife and or girlfriend, you draw the line. You absolutely draw the line. You say enough is enough. If you have a beef with me, and whatever the beef is, I don't know. Look, I've been pretty successful for 8 years on YouTube, and I don't mean success having 1 million subscribers. I'm talking about the fact that I've been here around 8 years, never got thrown off YouTube. I actually haven't. I might have made a couple of blunders. I got rid of like 1,000 videos when I tried to put my channel on hide in the past. I made some really stupid blunders on my own. I've done it actually more than once, actually. But why does someone have to... Oh, okay, I can partially answer that question. To hurt me. Now, what if you were found out? What if you found out if I knew who you were? If you're local, what do you think the plan of action should be on something like this? It's one thing for me to be attacked on here. Everybody attacks each other. But I think it comes to a point where you say, how much are you willing to put up with? And how much research do you want to do into finding out who this person is? I'm a pretty good researcher. Well, not totally on my own all the time, with the help of... I have a source that is a little more intelligent than I am when it comes to anything technical or research. And it's really helped me, actually, a lot. It's really helped me. I'm at this point right now where, okay, first of all, I'm going to reach out to my viewers. And I want to ask you that question yourself. If it was your girlfriend or wife, and somebody devoted a channel, and almost every thumbnail included your wife or girlfriend, all right, would you let it go? Well, you know, let's look at it this way, okay? If you yourself were called a child predator, okay, how much would you put up with that? I think you know what I did. And for good reason. But when an innocent party gets involved with this, that's not a YouTuber. Maybe he only makes a cameo appearance every now and then on your show. Why should she be viciously attacked? Because I'll tell you one thing. I gather my resources together when I have to. I'm a little more clever than most people think I am. And I've got resources that help me out every now and again. Some of it I figure out on my own. I do have the ability, but I don't have total ability to research somebody's URL and all that stuff. I don't. That's where other help comes in. What would you do in that situation if you found out who it was? And would you approach the situation in a physical way? Would you bring this evidence over to a cybercrime unit and press charges on them? Remember, it's getting highly personal. This is your wife or girlfriend. Totally innocent. Totally innocent. Has nothing to do really with my channel, because my channel is not one of these little team vlogger things where she's part of the show on a regular basis. Rarely ever. Well, I've been contemplating what I want to do. Most people think that I just let that pass by, but I actually really don't. It's unfortunate that people on here There really is a jealousy thing going on here. There's no doubt about it. It's as clear as you can see it. I mean, it's one vlogger's envious of another one for whatever reason. It doesn't even have to be a reason, but there generally is a reason. They're trying to hurt the boyfriend, who's a vlogger. I know how to get to him when we do shows on his girlfriend. That's going to really piss him off. But what if you were discovered? What if you were discovered? How far would you go? Would you travel out of the country? Would you travel to another part of the Philippines to find this person? And what would you do? Well, I thought about that a lot. Believe me, a lot of people don't hear me doing shows about, hey, why are you attacking my girlfriend, that kind of shit. But I think about it all the time. Don't get me wrong. Believe me, more than you know. And some people really go out of their way. Now, you all know Roberto. Piece of shit that he is. He's not very well liked. Did any of you guys actually know that in the past, he did a video, he did many, trying to depict her as some kind of a call girl, and that's how I met her, or she worked at a bar, or something like that. Of course, all false information. However, he does that to hurt me from afar. Why? Is it because, well, first of all, let me elaborate a little bit more on this. What you didn't know, if you didn't know already, is that he's done videos about her when they were on the, I don't know if it was the Triple R. I don't remember what show. But said the first time, he said that my girlfriend was a whore, basically. That I met her in a bar, not once, but many times. He also said that if he ever saw us in Cebu, that he would physically harm me, and his keywords from Roberto, that he would think of actually harming my girlfriend. What kind of a man says something like that? Roberto's always been a scumbag on here. I think you guys always know that he's not a popular person. He does these hit and run videos and takes them off. He'll say something. He spends a lot of time doing it with graphics, text and so forth. Because he wants to get even with me because I called the police on him 3 times in Texas for the purpose of letting him know that I'm not putting up with the bullshit. It caused an embarrassment to him and his family? Sure. He deserved it. He deserved it. So he's pretty pissed off at that. Why should he be pissed off? When all he's been doing is defaming me and my girlfriend, the innocent party. You got a lot of guys like Roberto that have a big mouth and they hide behind their screen. He's made threats to me. And remember, big difference here too. He made threats regarding my girlfriend. How right is that? It shows what a low-life coward this guy actually is. See, people like that, in the real world, you take care of business. If you could find where they are, you do something about it. Fuck the law. Fuck the law. Fuck the law. Sometimes you have to say fuck the law and take matters in your own hand. However, there are ramifications to doing that, of course. But sometimes, the way you feel is like, whether it's legal or otherwise, sometimes people have to learn a good lesson in life. They'll never do it again. Hopefully, for their own good. Believe me when I tell you something. My research always goes on. I'm not spending my whole day researching somebody. I've actually got a life, believe it or not. But I don't forget. I mean, this is not like an occasional thing with him. Okay, I'm using him as an example for a moment. Don't forget, this is not a one-time event. Somebody calls your girlfriend a whore. Okay, it's not a one-time event. Okay, keep that in mind. Underline that. It's not a one-time event. He's done this a lot, and using her photographs, along with the copycat channel shit, with the Swampcast thing. Now, I personally believe I know who it is on the Swampcast. I'm not going to divulge that information because I got to do my research further. I'm not going to come out with a name when it's not the person. But I'm not going to come out with it anyway. I'm not going to do that. I'll do my own research and verify it. And I'll take an action. If I can't do it myself, I'll have help. But I don't forget. There's nothing wrong with my memory in that sense. I personally believe that don't devote your channel. All right, you got an aggravated moment or something, and maybe you say something really off color and out of line. Okay, you know, we've all done that. So have I, certainly. But to constantly use somebody's girlfriend as a crutch to get even with somebody, that's a coward. That's a coward. Now, whoever is behind these Swampcasts, whatever copycat channels out there, it'll be discovered who they are. It'll be discovered. And I got a few clues. And I also watch people's text and writing style, and I think to myself, yeah, that definitely sounds like it could be him. And I have a good idea who's behind that. As I said, I'm not going to say it on here. But once I verify who it is, for sure, well, who's to say I'm not going to take action? What kind of action? That remains to be seen. It has to do with geography. It has to do with a lot of things. But I'm just letting people know that I don't forget at all. I didn't forget what that creep did, and he's now in a jail cell. He's going to be facing a lot more jail and deportation. But I'm not going to go through a long court process. Once I find out who this individual is, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll take care of business on my own. Why? It would be deserving. Somebody has nothing to do with my channel, just makes an occasional appearance on my show. I'd like to hear your opinions on here, my regular viewers. And if you're going to make any derogatory comments, you will be blocked and so forth and all that good stuff. I want to hear your opinion. What do you think about somebody that could do that to your girlfriend? Remember, she's not a vlogger. And most people know a little about her. And she's actually a really sweet woman who's not out to harm anybody. Now, we've all made, I just call it derogatory comments about somebody on here. And maybe you slipped a few times and you said something that you didn't really mean to say, but out of anger. Okay, sometimes we slip. But to do it on a regular basis, to actually create a show about you, number one, but have to include somebody's innocent girlfriend. What is the fucking point of that? Well, I tell you what the point of it is. The point of it is that the best way, and of course they learned this from the great Aloe, is to go after somebody's family. Now that's cowardice, no matter how you look at it. These kind of people, let me tell you something. For far less than that, people have tracked down assholes on here and beat the living snot out of them. For a lot less than that. I would think that these people are taking quite a chance. And who's to know that they're not being investigated? Who's to know? Well, you don't know. I take everything in consideration. That's why I didn't put up with this one goober. I didn't put up with this shit, and I took action. I didn't care about the money. Money's replaceable. I don't give a shit about that. It's irrelevant to me how much I spend on a legal matter. As long as, the results are what you want. That's all I care about. It's not a big thing in the money. I mean, I can think of better ways of spending my money. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. But when you have to, you have to. Or else you can't live with yourself. I can't live with myself knowing that my girlfriend would be put down the way, because, I'll give you an example of something. Her family is pretty updated with a lot of this shit. And I don't want to involve a family with anything. But if I had to, I certainly would. But I'm just letting my viewers know how I feel about the situation, how I always felt about it. She does not deserve to be, well, say, depicted, displayed as something that she's not. Just like you don't call somebody a fucking child predator. I think my viewers understand that very well. Picture if it was your wife or girlfriend. Seriously, what would you do? That's the question. So be very open about it. And I'm constantly doing research on certain people. You may think I'm not, but you didn't believe me when I said I'd have somebody in jail, did you? I kind of mean what I say, and I usually follow through. And I did follow through on one situation. Actually, two. Because I have another situation going on with somebody else from Facebook, where you can get pretty bold on social media, but it all catches up to you sooner or later. Now, am I innocent? No, but I've apologized in the past 3 times. I said, out of anger, if I said something that really bothered you about something really derogatory about you or yours, I apologize for that. I manned up on that. Because wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong. And I'm never saying that during 8 years I've been on YouTube that someone didn't piss me off and I said something that I didn't mean, regretted it later. But I did what a real man does, and I apologize for it. I don't do this kind of shit on a daily basis with anyone. I don't. And understand that. I mean, there's more to life than doing that. I do a lot of interesting vlogs on here. I've always tried to. I tried to be very topical. And even when I'm not talking about some other vlogger and trying to make an innocent video, I'm still attacked. Is it because I really did something to everybody out there? Look, I got my moments when people piss me off. Generally, I let these things slide because I'm used to this crap on here. I wouldn't be on here for 8 years if it bothered me that much. But I think when it gets really personal, like the one guy that's in jail, yes, he did actually contact my girlfriend's children to say, hey, the guy that your mother's dating is a child predator. Now, that was wrong, man. You can't get more wrong than that. But he did, and now he's paying the price for it. Everybody pays the price for something. You go in a store, you buy something, you're probably paying too much. You're going to pay the price if you want it. But you're responsible for your own content on YouTube. You're responsible for everything you put out. That's inclusive of me. I don't leave myself out. If you ever notice that, one thing about me, I don't leave myself out. If I am guilty of something, I'm going to say guilty as charged. I've never excluded myself. If you've been following my show, I think you know that. I think you know that very well. I'll man up and say, yeah, I said something I shouldn't have said. I said something I shouldn't have said. I manned up and said, yeah, I was upset, blah, blah, blah. We're human and we make errors, don't we? But the difference is whether you man up or not. And a lot of people, though, get the keyboard warriors that hide behind their keyboard and they just pump out all this vicious crap. What are you willing to do about it? what would you do about it? You let it go and just figure the source and say, fuck them. But when it's done on a constant basis, how do you feel about that? Do you feel that there should be some kind of payment? We're not talking money. You think there should be some kind of payment in regards to the constant inclusion of somebody's girlfriend or wife on there? Constant. We're not talking about an occasional thing. This is a regular thing. Big difference. You could pass off some of that shit and say, well, just think about the source of where it's coming from, and you'll understand if the person's a creep. Probably doesn't have much of a life, and they spend that much time putting videos together on you. You can only imagine what their life is actually like. It's probably very miserable, actually. I would imagine it would be. Believe me, what goes on in the lives of some of these vloggers, you'd be awfully surprised, or maybe you wouldn't, really. Maybe you wouldn't. I'm not surprised. It doesn't faze me. I mean, I just, I can conclude pretty much that there's something lacking in their life when they have to attack you or your family. If you got a beef with somebody on here, I mean a real beef, not just because you want to test somebody. You want to just test somebody to piss them off. You got a real beef with somebody, you deal with the person, not their family, children, wives, girlfriends, stuff like that. But remember, I always use these key words. How often do they do it? Do they do it on almost a daily basis? That's a big difference. I have to emphasize that. Got to emphasize that. That's a big difference. So I'll end it off by saying, give me some of your thoughts on this. Now, as I said, I don't forget anyone on here, past, present, whatever, that's ever attacked me and labeled me as a child predator. Now, Roberto, basically, one of his captions was calling me a pedo, doing the same thing that somebody else did. How righteous is he for doing that? Oh, he worries about his family. He says, well, you called the police on me 3 times or whatever. You embarrassed my family. Well, hello. I had to send a clear message to you that I'm not putting up with this shit. Then he comes on his show. He just contradicts himself all the time. I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm this, and I'm that. But what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you not contradicting yourself? So, basically, the school of thought is that you attack somebody's family to get even with somebody. That's an absolute coward. I also know what I'd like to know your opinion about Roberto is, for one. And all these people that do that kind of shit. All these people. All these people that do that. Okay, I'll leave it off at that. I will say, again, I don't forget. Believe me, it's embedded in my brain. I will do my own research and continue until I know exactly who these people are. Excuse me. They're not going to know that I know. But I'll handle business as I feel necessary. Fuck the law. This time I'll say fuck the law on this situation. I'm not going to drag something out in court again if I don't have to. But I will if I have to, don't get me wrong. I'm not worried about the money. But word out and word up is that if you have actually really defamed, humiliated my girlfriend, you're in my mind, you'll continue to be in my mind, and I will continue to do my research until I find out exactly who you are, for sure. I got my ideas. It's very simple. When you've listened to people before, the small hint is that you listen to their wording, how they phrase things, There might be some key words in there that they use that kind of bring you a lot of information, how they talk, how they write, their little verbiage, and all these little hints. It all adds up. So what will I do when I find out who these people are? Well, that remains to be seen. And I'm not blowing smoke here. Not blowing smoke up anybody's ass. But I'll tell you one thing. When I do find out who they are, they're going to pay. You pay, you pay. Somebody's paying right now. Just as proof, they're paying right now. They will continue to pay. Mark my words.